Alright, that should be better. Okay. Thank you. I knew I was missing something. But what's up, everybody? My bad. My mic was off. But yeah, what's up, everybody? We hit 2K subscribers. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. I knew something was wrong. I was like, wait a minute, I think I'm missing something. And then someone was like, my mic is off. And I was like, oh, up there, that's the problem was. But yeah, man, thank you guys so much, man. I really, really, really appreciate it. But we're going to react to Mr. Nightmare's 4 scary playground horror stories, or whatever. And then we have Scary Mysteries, 4 obsessed horror stories, or 4 obsessed stalker something horror stories like that. And we got 2 Mr. Ballin videos I forgot the name of. But we're going to jump into those as well a bit later on. So we got 4 of them. Usually we do like 2 or maybe like 3 sometimes. But I gave you guys 4 since you guys have been doing a really good job and staying consistent and being really supportive of the YouTube channel and the content that I put out for you guys. So I really appreciate it. We're going to, thank you, Lee. We're going to probably wait here for another 2-3 minutes or so and then probably get it kicked off. Get some people some time. Because we're like, oh, did it start already? And people come like strolling in a little bit later. And sometimes YouTube doesn't press out or put out the notifications as fast as most people would think. Like I get notifications and I go click on the video and the video has already been out for like 10-20 minutes already. So I don't know. So finally made one live. Yo, what's up, Ubi? Congrats on you. Yo, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Nothing to see. I appreciate you. Dang, that's crazy, man. I'll be staring at it like you guys understand. I legit go and stare at my subscribers every time. Like I was like 750 in November or December, so man, we've been putting in a lot of work. So hopefully it continues to go in that direction, and then we'll go from there. You're the real MVP, Zims, bro. Wow, it will be making me all feel good. JD, congrats on your 2K. Your channel's amazing. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate you guys. Dang, you making me blush right before the live. I'm not going to be able to focus. Do you know? Yeah, I know, man. DMX, man. That's them drugs, dude, man. You gotta stay away from drugs, man. Some people can't help it. So I mean, dang, that's crazy. He was young too. 50 is really not that old. A lot of people think 50 is old. I be saying I'm old because it's because my body feels, but 50 is really not that old of an age. But we about to go ahead and jump in and get started. So, yeah. Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Zims, and welcome to our 2K subscriber special live stream. If you guys are new to the channel, my name is Reprisal Zims, and welcome to the Crow's Nest. If you guys haven't already, be sure you swoop down to that description box, click on the link, and go watch any of these videos in their entirety while me pausing and stopping and talking through the whole thing. Again, like I said before, thank you guys so much. Keep doing what you guys are doing. Hit that notification bell so you can get all my recent uploads and videos that I put out, or any new information that I put out on this channel, so you guys can be up to date with that and all that good stuff. But yeah, we're about to jump into it. The first one up is Mr. Nightmare, so I hope you guys are ready. And we're just about to get through it and see what happens. 3 scary sounds by Mr. Ballin. No, I haven't. I'll probably squeeze that in sometime next week because I already picked the 4 that I was going to react to. And then, yeah. But alright, here we go. Let me know if the sound's okay. If not, I'll change it. You deserve it, son, bro. You've been grinding a long time. Yeah, man, we have. Appreciate it. Alright, let's see if these playground stories are real. See if I can vibe with them. Because my mom didn't never let me go outside. I had to be in the house before the street lights came on, so I don't know. But I don't remember having any weird encounters, though.
When I was 17 in my last year of high school, I was finally starting to hit things off with a girl I liked. I'll call her Lynn. Lynn was a big pot smoker. At the time it really wasn't my thing, but I went along with it just because. I live a couple blocks from her, so I always walked before I got a car. Across the street from her house is a park. Commonly at night, she'd instant message me on AOL to come hang out at the park.
AOL?
Sometimes we'd just sit on the playground at night and talk for hours. Sometimes she'd convince me to smoke with her. It was always such a private place to hang out and talk, especially at night. A line of thick trees surrounded the playground as well, creating a wall of sorts.
Megan Thee Stallion thick?
Well, one night we both snuck out around 12 and met at the playground in the park. We talked for a while. Then Lynn perked up, playfully hit me on the shoulder, and said we should play hide and seek. It may sound immature for a couple seniors in high school to play hide and seek,
Not in the nighttime.
but it just seemed like it would be fun. She told me to go to the trees and count to 30. When I was done, my first instinct was of course to check the playground, and if she wasn't there, I'd move on to the picnic bench area.
Red flag.
We always had flashlights on us when we went to the park, because this was before everyone had phones with flashlights in their pockets. I stepped from the grass onto the wood fiber mulch surrounding the playground. I aimed my flashlight up to the playground, because I guess I was too lazy to go up there if I didn't have to. You know those big plastic circular things with a bunch of tiny holes in it that a lot of playgrounds have? Maybe not, but there was one of those things up at the highest level of the playground, and through a bunch of holes, I could see what appeared to be skin and a jacket, but what stood out the most was her eye peering through one of the holes. Instead of going up there right away, I decided it would be fun to kind of mess with her. I waved the flashlight around the playground, pretending like I didn't see her. I was going to walk to the picnic area, turn on the flashlight, walk around to the trees, back to the playground, sneak up on her, and scare the living daylight out of her.
It's about to be the opposite.
Don't ask me why, I just wanted to. I walked to the picnic area, shut off the flashlight, and snuck back over to the playground. I was careful not to make noise as I crept through the wood chips that the playground sat on. Before I could even step foot on the first platform of the playground, something grabbed my arm and pulled me. I actually screamed, but stopped when I heard Lynn's laughter. I turned on the flashlight and was relieved to see it was her. The prank obviously backfired completely.
Then who's that?
After that, we went back up to the second level platform of the playground that we always chilled in. I asked her if she knew that I saw her behind that plastic thing at the top of the playground, but she was confused. She acted as if she never went up there. I explained to her that I saw someone up there. We both looked up as the tiny creaking sounds we had been hearing every so often suddenly made a disturbing amount of sense.
Here we go.
I aimed the light up there, which revealed someone's head hunched over the railing of the platform above us. At the same time, we heard footsteps kicking the wood chips around right below the platform we were sitting on.
There's two of them.
I made the first move for us to run, and Lynn followed suit. I turned out my flashlight while we ran, which wasn't long since Lynn's house was right across the street. We went to her room, shut the curtains, and I stayed there for the night, not wanting to go home. That marked the end of our late-night visits to the park.
Exactly. Why do you want to go play hide? It's bad enough that you're out there getting high and your senses and your motor skills and all that stuff is about to leave. You really about to go play hide and seek at night inside of a playground, bruh. You just asking for trouble. You're asking for chupacabras, which is the devil himself, bro. The Ouija board monsters, whatever it is that may be out there that may creep up. Freaks come out at night. If you guys never heard that saying before, man, I think it's a song too, but it's true, bro. The freaky, weird people come out at nighttime. So there's no reason why you should be out there playing hide and seek, bro. 100%. Like, no. I don't care if we got flashlights, glow sticks, whatever it is, bro. Don't invite me. I'm not playing. I'm cautious, bro. That's why I live so long. See how healthy I am? Look at that. No scratches, anything.
Do you have any memories from when you were a little kid that just make you uncomfortable to think about? Especially since you were so young at the time that you didn't know any better? Well, this is mine. My mom used to take me to this really big playground in my town. And when I say really big, I'm not exaggerating. It was probably the biggest playground you'd ever see. If only I knew the name of it. The playground was entirely wooden, and every Saturday and Sunday there would be at least 50 kids playing across it, with the parents all tucked away in the shaded area reading their magazines and whatnot.
That's a nice park.
One typical busy day at the playground, I was running along a big open platform when an older woman stopped me and said hi.
Ooh, a cougar.
She kept going on and on about how cute I was, and how she loved my blonde hair. It started to seem like she knew me based off the way she was talking to me. And then she told me that my mom left and that she told her to take me home. Keep in mind I was only 6, so I believed her.
Oh no, kid.
The woman took me to the parking lot, to an old station wagon where a man, I now presume to be her husband, was sitting in the driver's seat. He acted all friendly to me as the woman motioned me into the back seat, but I remember him yelling and lecturing at her about something. The man drove very aggressively and quickly as he was leaving the parking lot. We came to the light at the exit of the park. It was red. Just then, a car pulled up behind us and laid on the horn. I looked behind us, and it was my mom's car. The man blew through the red light, which even I picked up on, and started flooring it down the streets. I started to cry and scream as I realized my mom didn't know these people. Not long after, the man pulled the car over and yelled at the top of his lungs at me to get out of the car. I opened the door, still crying my eyes out in fear.
Damn, man.
My mom pulled up next to me, ran out of the car, and hugged me. In the heat of the moment, she didn't get the tag number, nor was she able to call the police since this was 2001 and there were no cell phones.
It wasn't?
I really wish I didn't remember this day so clearly. I would have rather it just been one of those memories that the brain chooses to repress.
Hold on, time out now. ...2001. They had Motorola's. What do you mean there was no cell phones? I mean, you might need a prepaid card or something, but there was cell phones, right? Or am I tripping? There was no cell phones in 2001? She might didn't have one, but I'm pretty sure there was some cell phones, man. Like, what? I don't know. But dang, that's great. That's scary, bro. Good on the mom, man. That mother intuition, bro, it kicked in. She was like John Wick. I don't know how she caught up so fast. Because they didn't even show her sprinting to the car or anything like that, bro. She caught up to him. And didn't get the license plate number. But that just goes to show you, man, you need to teach your kids. If I don't specifically tell you that somebody's picking you up, do not go with anybody, bro. Stranger danger, all that good stuff, bro. Just start letting 6-year-olds open carry. Nah, I was playing. That's too that's extra. But yeah, I thought he was going to say something like, you know, I used to steal peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, or I just take orange juice cartons out the cafeteria, or I used to eat crayons, you know, something like that. Like he said he was embarrassed about, but you can't be embarrassed about getting kidnapped in public. Like, you can't help that. People are just weird. I don't know what they're going to do with them. They probably wanted a child.
I'm a single father currently living with my 5-year-old son. I have an old wooden playground in my backyard. It has a tire swing, monkey bars, and a big slide. A couple times recently, I've heard noises coming from the playground at night. I'll start from the first night.
Red flag.
I woke up one night last week to the sound of something squeaking from outside. I recognized it to be the sound of the rusty chain of the tire swing spinning around. I also heard a young child's laughter out there.
Hell no.
I thought it was my son, so I went to his room to find him in his bed, fast asleep.
Move.
My heart dropped as I saw him in his bed. That meant some stranger was in my yard. But when I opened the back door to the backyard, there was no one back there. The tire swing was spinning slowly, however, as if somebody had just gotten off of it. I chalked it up as some kid just sneaking into my yard and went back to sleep.
You can't
The next night,
like
however, I woke up again to the sound of someone stomping up and down the slide, once again accompanied by the sound of a child's laughter. I checked my son's room once again to find him in bed. This time I thought I'd be a little smarter about it and check the window first before going outside.
Hold on, zombie.
Nothing was out there though. Not on the playground at least. I still went outside anyway just to make sure.
Stop investigating everything, man. You know it's a ghost. If you look outside and there's no one there and you're hearing footsteps, your son's in bed, bro, what are you waiting for, bro? Do you want the kid to come up like, hey, so yeah, I've been hunting your playground outside. I hope you don't mind, but yeah, you're definitely not imagining things. I'm 100% ghost, and I like the little tire swing that you got over there to the right. I think I'm going to partake in that for a little while, maybe the whole time that you're living here on the premises. And yeah, we just go. People, man, stop investigating. Do you have any scary stories that happen to you? I mean, I wouldn't count them as scary. I mean, the only thing that happened to me, I think I told you guys once before that I was at my grandparents' house at one point, and my sister came downstairs to tell me that dinner was ready. And then she went back upstairs, and then I thought she was playing around because she kept jiggling the door handle, and then the door handle finally stopped jiggling and it opened like really slowly and it stopped. And I was like, hey, stop playing, go back upstairs, I'm coming right now. She didn't say nothing. I didn't hear nothing. And if somebody was there and they were to try to run up the stairs, you probably would have heard the footsteps. So I didn't hear any of that. My room was to the left. So I opened the door. It was nothing. Looked behind it. It was just like the clothes hamper. Went inside the room that I used to sleep in. No one was in there. Went upstairs. My sister was in the living room. And I was like, not in the living room. I told my grandma where my sister was, and she said she was in the bathroom. So it was like, okay, couldn't have been my sister. And my grandpa's in the window. My grandma's watching TV, and the rest of the family's in the living room. So I was just like, all right, well, it's time for me to go to sleep. That, I mean, that's me, but I don't really count that as super scary. I don't know, but I legit watched the whole door handle turn and open by itself. But I don't know. My grandpa reported seeing stuff in the house before. My grandma has too. I have never physically seen anything, but I'm pretty sure I've run into times where I knew I turned the TV off and the TV was on again, or the door opened by itself. But that was about it.
For a couple nights, nothing happened, and I completely forgot about it. But on the third night, while in bed, a knock at my window startled me.
Who is it?
I sat up in shock for a good minute, afraid to look outside. But eventually, I was brave enough to do so.
Oh, bruh.
I looked out the foggy window. Through the smudge, I could see both the swings on the swing set swinging lightly, accompanied with the laughter of a child again. I ran as fast as I could down those stairs and out the back door.
There we go.
And instead of finding a couple of deviant little kids back there, instead I saw some towering figure looming at the top of my playground, surely looking at me.
Oh, that gave me goosebumps. You can't
My
even
courage
see it.
turned to pure cowardice as I turned to run back inside, lock the door, and dial 911. The wait for an officer to arrive was the longest 20 minutes I'd ever experienced.
20 minutes? You from Los Angeles?
By the time they got there, though, the figure on the playground was gone. They took down what little information I could give them and left. I wish I could say that was the last occurrence, but just last night, there was another knock at my window. I simply ignored it this time, though.
Just move, bro.
I'm dreading going to sleep tonight. I think I'm gonna install security cameras on my house soon. Either way, I'll give an update on what happens.
Hey, man, if you're watching this right now, we need an update, bro. I don't know, this was 3 years ago. We need an update soon. How much do you believe the ghost stories? I've had a hard time believing them, but I love to listen to them. I don't know. Some of the ghost stories, I'd be like, yeah, you know, well, that's cap, but there's been other times where I was like, hey, that's kind of believable because I have similar experiences. But I mean, my thing is, if you have more than one person saying they've seen something before, have multiple stories, and you kind of got to be like, okay, you know, some of it's true. Maybe they've kind of like exaggerated some of the stories, but I don't know. Sometimes I have a hard time believing like certain ghost videos more than the stories. I feel like stories are more, I don't know. I think some stories are more believable than videos because some of the videos you see them and then all the ghosts do the same thing. I don't know if you guys watch a lot of paranormal stuff, but 9 times out of 10 it's a knock, right? It's either a knock or they hear footsteps or they see the ghost like split second before it turn the corner, or the ghost be like this and they point the camera and it goes like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, that kind of stuff. I kind of like second guess, like, you know what, maybe it's fake, maybe it's not, but I don't know. And I've seen some videos where people weren't trying to catch anything and they caught somebody that was not there anymore, you know what I'm saying, that was dead, or they're like transparent and stuff like that. So I believe they're around, but some of the stories I believe are like mostly cap, but I don't know. I can't really say if that answers your question. My parents told me that one time when I was young, a bunch of 20-something-year-old girls tried to take me to their house without telling my parents, and I almost left with them before my mom saw me. Dang, you sound like a good time. No, I was playing. That's good, though. Good thing your mom stopped you before it got too late. Probably been some serial killers or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. If you guys got ghost stories, feel free to put them down in the chat, and I'll kind of read them in between the stories and whatnot. But yeah, keep talking. I like the communication.
I was 13 years old. My bedroom window faced the playground outside. It was a hot spring night with a light rain, so I had the window open, allowing me to hear the raindrops, as well as a strange squeaking sound. It really started to get annoying, so I went to the window to see what it could be. There was someone sitting on the swing set.
Nope.
I nearly screamed, but covered my mouth instead. What was really scary was that the swing was in the direct line of sight from my window, and the person on the swing was staring straight at my window. I could only hope they didn't see me. I was too scared to go across the house to my parents' room. Instead, all I really wanted to do was hide in my bed and hope they would go away, but the squeaking went on and on. I covered my ears not only because I was scared, but also because of the annoyance of the sound. And finally, at last, the squeaking stopped.
I ought to call the police, bro.
I gave it a few seconds before I quietly got out from bed and went back to the window. This time, I actually screamed. The person who was previously on the swing was now standing at most 10 feet from my window, looking in, close enough for me to make out his horrid face, with his eyes locked onto mine. But only for maybe a second or two, because I went straight to my parents' room, screaming for my dad the whole way. My dad looked out the window, then went outside. He came back in 5 minutes later and said there were boot marks under the swings where a patch of mud accumulated, but he couldn't find the person who made them. This was 100% the scariest moment of my life.
Alright, well, there we go. And that's one video down. This video was by Mr. Nightmare. So if you guys enjoyed, be sure you swoop down to that description box. Click on the link, go watch the videos to the entirety while me pausing and stopping and talking through the whole thing. Man, that was a really good video, man. Let me know down, or let me know in the chat which video you thought was the scariest. For me, I think it was the 6-year-old one that almost got kidnapped if it wasn't for his mom stepping in and pretty much John Wick in the vehicle, or Jason Bourne in the vehicle over there to save her son. So that's my interpretation, I guess. That's my opinion. Yep. Alright. Alright, this video, what's this one called? I forgot. Yeah, there it is. Excuse me. This video is called 4 Insane Stories of Obsession. It's by Scary Mystery. So if you guys haven't already, same thing. Swoop down to the description box. Click on that link. Go watch the videos in entirety. While me pausing and stopping and talking through the whole thing. Let's get it. Let me know if you guys have ever been stalked by someone. I mean, I don't think I have been stalked by anyone. Maybe I have, but as far as like obsessed, like you go somewhere and you see that person, you know what I'm saying? Or they call you multiple times and they don't stop. They text message you all the time. Like I've never experienced it and I don't really want to. I've seen movies based on it and it's some scary stuff like Misery. I think the other movie with Beyonce is called Obsession, and it's another one. I can't think of the movie. It's a third one that I was like, dang, it was like really creepy, but I can't think of what it was. But we have to jump into it, man. If you guys have any movie recommendations as well, let me know, because I'm watching Netflix right now. I've been binge watching all kinds of stuff recently, man. The last one got you? Yeah, last one's pretty tough. This jump scared me too.
4 Insane Stories of Obsession. Everything in moderation are words to live by, because pretty much everything in excess, even love, leads to bad things. Too much unbridled affection or unrelenting admiration can make a person go crazy.
Yep.
Here are 4 insane stories of obsession.
Not 1 or 2, 4. Ah, see?
Number 4.
Number 4, see?
Robert Bardo.
Robert Bardo, see?
Born in Tucson, Arizona in 1970.
Tucson.
Growing up, Robert Bardo was a big fan of movies. Throughout his childhood and well into his teenage years, he found joy in writing fan mail to celebrities. He led a turbulent life and was often abused by his cruel older siblings while being neglected by his mentally ill mother and alcoholic father. Young Robert had attempted to ask for help by writing letters to one of his teachers, where he expressed his desire to end his life and to murder others.
Jeez.
This prompted the school to recommend psychiatric intervention, but that was ignored and ultimately is what led to a further decline in his mental health.
Oh my God.
Bardo's stalking days began with a trip to Maine where he headed to track down a young peace activist named Samantha Smith. He was, however, apprehended and sent back home before he could actually do anything.
Thank God.
His next obsession, though, came quick when he moved on to 80s pop star Debbie Gibson, and he went as far as taking a bus to New York City with the intent of finding her, but was unsuccessful. And then his life totally changed one day, in October of 1986, when the 16-year-old kid first laid eyes on Rebecca Schaefer, who appeared on what was then a newly launched sitcom called My Sister Sam.
Sounds familiar.
Schaefer played the part of Patty Russell, a spunky teen who lives with her older sister in San Francisco. Smitten, Bardo began regularly sending letters to the actress, This went on for about a year until the summer of '87 when she actually replied. "Yours was one of the nicest I ever got," her note said. Bardo's feelings for her then intensified, so much so that he flew to see her in Burbank, California, where the show is being filmed.
See, that's how it starts. But let's first go back to the thing that gets people killed the most. When people put in for restraining orders and stuff like that and try to get the police to like, hey, this person's bothering me, he's outside of my home, and the police are like, oh, we can't do anything because it's public, blah blah blah, you can do whatever you want. Technically it's true, but at the same time, if this person is telling you that their life is in danger, you need to listen. If you go back and you look at many different cases, bruh, like the Jodie Foster, I think is her name was, case, he was trying to, was it Jodie Foster or was it an actor? It was some lady that killed her husband when he was in the shower. Or her boyfriend was in the shower. He didn't want to be with her no more, so she killed him. But he put multiple times telling police over and over again, like, hey, this woman's bothering me, this woman's bothering me. And another time, it was a female student at a college, like, hey, this dude won't leave me alone. He's my ex. He keeps stalking me. She tried to call the campus police. The campus police told them to call the real police. The real police told her to call the campus police, so they were giving her the runaround. So she kept calling and telling, like, hey, he's bothering me, he's stalking me. And sure enough, the dude came and freaking killed her. It's just like they need to start doing better in regards to looking out for people, because it's just like if you decide to take action yourself, you go to jail. You get what I'm saying? Like, you go to jail for murder, you go in jail for assault and battery, you go in jail for whatever it may be. Like, you can't win. So it's just like at one point, like, what do you do when the people that are supposed to help you are not helping you? You get what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know, it's kind of like tough, and it kind of irritates me, because it's just like, oh, we have these laws and procedures that you need to follow, but you follow them and nothing takes place, nothing happens. You can submit paperwork, you can take pictures, but they won't do nothing. Really sad when someone reaches out for help and they get dismissed. Yeah, like even in the beginning, there's telling him he has a mental problem. He's already gotten in trouble from the beginning for stalking somebody. And then he got caught stalking somebody. And then he stalked somebody else. And they stopped him again. Like, how many times do you have to stop this dude? You get what I'm saying? And then now, he wrote her, and her writing back in his mind, because he's mentally unstable, is that, oh, she wants me now. I'm the best that I ever got. Her saying that's the best she ever had, that's it for him. His mind is set. He's going down there with the purpose. She thinks that she wants him, and she was just being nice. And watch how he's about to clap her, watch.
He was denied entrance, of course, several times, but he was determined to meet her one way or another. After all, they were meant to be together. She just didn't know it yet. In 1989, My Sister Sam ended and Schaefer appeared in the movie Scenes from the Class Struggle in Beverly Hills, where she was involved in a sex scene.
Ooh,
this enraged Bardo, who once again headed to Los Angeles, hired a private investigator and obtained the starlet's home address.
Wow.
120 North Swetzer Avenue. Bardo buzzed the star's apartment, and when she answered the door, he showed her the letter and autograph that he had received from her. She politely asked him to leave, which he did, but shortly after, he came back and buzzed again. This time, when she opened the door, Bardo pulled out a gun from a brown paper bag and without hesitation shot her in the chest, killing her. He was already back in Tucson the next day when authorities received reports of him shouting on a busy highway that he had killed Rebecca Schaefer. Bardo was arrested and extradited back to California, where he confessed to the murder and received a life sentence without parole in 1991.
Oh, wow. Oh, now you want to do something.
Number 3, Derek Knowles.
That's crazy.
In April of 2012, Derek Knowles received a restraining order for stalking an unnamed woman with whom he had a 3-month-long affair with.
Damn, his shit all...
Knowles,
bruh,
a truck...
I'm sorry, this is off topic, but... if your hair look like this, bruh, just go ahead and shave the whole... Just shave it off, man. You holding on to nothing. Like, I get it. You got faith and hope that it may grow back. You maybe got some Bosley or maybe like a 2-piece or something, but... Just shave it, man. There's no need for you to be walking around at 30, 20 years old looking like Mr. Burns from The Simpsons, bro. Just take it off. And you still got the little patches right here growing. Just shave it, bro. Just go bald and then just try to regrow it back or something. Don't do this, please, people.
Knowles, a truck driver by profession, didn't want things to end, and so he kept on calling and texting. Once the restraining order was in place, he then had to get creative in order to let the world know about his love and feelings.
Nothing to see.
So in 2013, he began reaching out to Smooth FM, a local radio station in London. On the show, Lynn Parsons in the Morning, he had the host do shout-outs on air to the love of his life. The stalker described his former partner in all sorts of flattering ways and even called her his beautiful bride-to-be. He would text out these shout-outs, and when they were mentioned on air by people other than himself, he was able to skirt around the restrictions of the restraining order. The victim's name has been withheld for safety measures, so we'll just call her Sarah. In a message he sent on March 18th, Knowles texted to the host, "Hi Lynn, could you say hi to the beautiful Sarah? We'll see you later for coffee. If possible, could you play some Take That?" And he signed that off with the nickname Tim. The woman, who was already in her 40s, was notified about the dedication by a colleague who happened to know about their breakup. Shocked at what she had heard, she immediately contacted the station and then the police. An investigation was conducted, and it revealed that the trucker had made a total of 10 other text requests between May 2012 and March 2013. Management at the station, meanwhile, could not determine which of the requests had been broadcast. In most of the messages, the perpetrator pretended to be someone else who knew the involved parties. In one of the texts, he said, "Hi Lynn, could you please say hello to a couple of friends, Derek Knowles and Sarah? Hope they are still together." Could you say hi to Derek and Sarah and ask him if he's asked her to marry him yet? In the trial that took place at the Manchester Crown Court, Knowles admitted to having breached the restraining order, although he denied having intentions to contact the woman. As a result, he was sentenced to 6 months in prison, 2-year suspension, and 100 hours of community service for his creepy stalking ways.
I mean, it's better than nothing, I guess, but...
Number 2, Richard Farley.
Alright, no, it was alright. But when you start...
35-year-old Richard Farley had a bright future working as an electrical engineer for Electromagnetic System Labs Incorporated in Sunnyvale, California.
For that Derek Knowles dude, they say when you start to believe the lies that you say, you eventually start to believe them yourself. Like when you lie so much and you come out with the same exact story every time, you start to believe that, and you start to tell that story all the time, even though it didn't happen. 2K, see how fast it goes. You can't leave us in. Congrats. Hey, Melissa, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
An intelligent and sociable person, the man was generally well liked at his workplace. In April of 1984 is when Farley first laid eyes on Laura Black, a new hire over at ESL. For whatever reason, Richard quickly fell head over heels for her, and almost immediately became obsessed with the new girl. It started out with dinner invites, all of which Black had no interest in and rejected. Not easily deterred, however, the lovesick man continued to ask her out. He would shower her with gifts, and in the 4 years that he'd been pursuing her, Richard was able to send more than 200 letters. Some of these notes contained very creepy parts in them. For example, doctored photos of him and her together. He developed the habit of following her around in his car, even showing up at her house uninvited so many times that she would have to move around to try and get away from him.
You gotta get a gun.
In 1985, Black went to Human Resources for help. The company ordered the man to stay away from her and to attend psychological counseling sessions. But the obsession and stalking continued, and Farley's behavior at the workplace worsened, so much so that he began threatening other fellow ESL employees. On the pretext of his poor performance as an employee, he was fired from the company in May of 1986.
Good.
In the following months, the woman suffered more harassment, and in February of 1988, she filed a temporary restraining order against the perpetrator, which she was granted. A day before the court hearing was scheduled regarding his harassment, Farley arrived at his former workplace armed with a shotgun, a hunting rifle, 2 revolvers, and 2 handguns.
Oh, I think I heard about this.
He randomly shot the first person he came across, somebody in the parking lot. He then entered the ESL building and shot several other people as he walked down the hallways.
Ooh, man.
Investigators said he fired at least 50 rounds, shooting at everyone he encountered.
50.
Employees were running everywhere, through the doors and out of windows, and some chose to barricade themselves in their offices.
Nah, bruh.
When the gunman arrived at Black's office, he fired through the closed door and hit her in the shoulder. Witnesses said the entire shooting lasted for a half an hour before a SWAT team arrived at the scene, and a standoff between him and the police lasted for 5 hours.
Damn.
Before he finally surrendered. In the end, 7 innocent people, 5 men and 2 women, were killed. 4 others, including Black, suffered serious injuries from gunshot wounds. A woman was hospitalized for almost a month, but made a full recovery.
That's good.
On October 21st, 1991, Farley was found guilty on all 7 counts of first-degree murder and was given the death sentence on January 17, 1992. He is currently incarcerated in San Quentin Prison, where he still awaits execution.
See what I mean? They ain't gonna execute him. He been there since
Number
the dinosaurs was running.
Paulette Dwyer and Derek Todd Lee.
Like, oh man, dude, like, why you... I never understood that, bruh. Like, you gonna shoot everybody just because you can't get a girlfriend? Like, let that sink in. I'm about to go armed with all these weapons and shoot everybody because I got rejected. Like, it's not... They fought that you can't get a girlfriend. Like, what? Damn, bro, the world is... I'll never understand, bro. Just like, I think it was like a couple of months ago, somebody shot the person at the McDonald's window because their order was taking too long. Like, make your own burger then at home. Go get your own cheese. Go get your own patties and roll them and do it yourself. Why you go... What? Oh my goodness, bro. I need a radio station, bro. I need a radio station. I don't give me a radio station one day. Yeah, just open up the fire. Yeah, just do that, man. The firing squad or something. He been in there since 1992, people. It's 2021, and we're almost halfway. 2021, and that man is still in there getting hot meals, sleep, chilling, bruh. Kicked up, probably reading books, not doing nothing. Yo, what's good, James? Thank you for the 2K. I appreciate it. Thank you, Riley, as well, for the 2K. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. So far, you guys missed the Mr. Nightmare one, but we're still on Scary Mysteries, and we got 2 Mr. Ballins coming up.
Gut feel is a curious thing. Without a real understanding of it, it tells us that there's just something not exactly right.
You wilded.
Paulette Dwyer had more than a few of those gut feels. Sadly, though, they were all ignored by police, resulting in a terrifying string of events that shook Louisiana down to its core. Dwyer was a firefighter living in St. Francisville, Louisiana, when she first met Derek Todd Lee back in 1999 outside her apartment building.
He looked like a Goomba from Super Mario.
In the brief conversation they had, he told her he was there visiting friends, but when she later checked with them, they said they had no idea who he was. He went on to show his creep was.
Hold on, wait. Don't he look like him? No, look. He does.
He went on to show his creepier side when he began to hang around near the woman's place, hiding in the bushes. The situation got worse when Lee forced his way into her apartment one night, claiming that he just wanted to take care of her. She played it cool and he eventually left. He would show up at her workplace, and when she could no longer withstand the harassment, Dwyer decided to press charges in August of 1999. St. Francisville police arrested him on charges of stalking and peeping, and he was put on probation in December of that year. Months later, authorities picked him up once again for breaking his probation and sentenced him to 9 months in jail.
I can't unsee it.
He got out in January of 2001, and much to the shock of Dwyer, he once again showed up at her apartment. The succeeding months were a total nightmare for her as he continued to terrorize her with his unwanted presence. Not long after that, Dwyer heard the news about the murder of a Baton Rouge woman named Charlotte Murray, and her gut told her that her stalker could be somehow involved. She called police about her hunch, but her tip went to the wayside because they thought that the perpetrator in the killing was a white man.
Don't listen.
2 months later, Pam Kinnamore was found raped and brutally murdered. Once again in this case, Dwyer's information was ignored.
Is this the one?
It took authorities another few months to actually consider even questioning Lee, but not before another woman named Carrie Yoder was beaten, raped, and killed in March of 2003. This time, the suspect's DNA was taken and proved to match the DNA evidence collected not only from the aforementioned 3 crime scenes, but for 4 other murders as well.
Is that the Squidward nose?
At this point, the killer already had a nickname, the Baton Rouge serial killer.
The Baton Rouge serial killer.
All the while that these murders were occurring, Lee never stopped stalking Dwyer.
You Goomba.
Finally, his arrest came on May 26, 2003 for the murder of Yoder. He then stood trial for all 7 murder charges, was found guilty and sentenced to death.
Let me guess.
He died, though, on January 21st, 2016, due to heart disease complications while being detained at Louisiana State Penitentiary. So there were 4 insane stories of obsession. Millions of people have been victims of stalkers and had to deal with terrifying and uncomfortable situations as a result. While many will survive their ordeals, some unlucky victims will not. And so when a person becomes obsessed, it is important that it be taken very seriously. If you like this video, then please subscribe because every week we're putting out new mysterious videos for you to check out.
But man, oh man, I think the worst story was that one, and the one dude that went all the way to California and she told him to leave. He left and came back and then shot her. She didn't do nothing to this man, mind you. All she did, she could have avoided it. The thing that messed her up was she wrote back to him, but of course she couldn't have known, right? She was being a good like actor or whatever you want to say, and kind of like write back to her fans and supporters and stuff like that. And unfortunately she wrote back to the wrong dude, and he didn't take it lightly, and he ended up freaking shooting her. All because why? The police did not listen. They didn't take any actions towards the seriousness of all them things that people were saying about this dude from the very beginning in middle school and high school. And they were like, oh, he's fine. Put him back in class. Put him back in with the rest of the population. Everything is good to go. Like, come on, man. Like, stop the cap, bro.
If you have heard...
Like, Jesus. I cannot make this up. I think that was like the worst one. I shouldn't have picked that video. That video got my blood pumping and boiling and stuff. So... Alright, here it goes. The main event of the evening. The main event. What's up, Kyla? How you doing?
If you have heard of Piggy Palace, the focus of today's story, then you know how horrific this story is.
Sorry, Mr. Ballin.
Never heard of Piggy...
I gotta cut you back off. I didn't do the intro. Today we're going to be reacting to Mr. Ballin's The Piggy Palace Massacre. So if you guys have a weak stomach, viewer discretion is advised. But I don't know. You may not like bacon after this, but if I want to ruin it for you, a lot of serial killers have said that pork tastes similar to human flesh. Let that sink in. So who knows? Maybe you ate a human finger or a butt cheek or something once or twice in your lifetime if you consume pork. But if you don't, maybe you haven't. Maybe you've ate something else. Who knows? People back there preparing your food, you don't know what they're back there preparing it in. You get what I'm saying? It was a butcher serial killer back then that just sell the human meat. So, yeah. From U.S. Navy SEALs weighing in at however much he weighs, John Ballin. He's like mysterious, scary, spooky. Oh, this story, prepare yourselves in. Oh, yeah? Are you going to do the dance? Oh, you know I am. Absolutely. Restart this bad boy.
If you have heard of Piggy Palace, the focus of today's story, then you know how horrific this story is. If you've never heard of Piggy Palace, well, viewer discretion is advised. But before we get into today's story, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you've come to the right place because that's all we do, and we upload 3 or 4 times every week. So if that's of interest to you, please set the like button up for a practice sales call with William M. Buttlicker. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly uploads. All right, let's get into today's story.
Let's go! Ow! 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 Woo!
Robert Pickton was born in 1949 in Port Coquitlam in British Columbia, which is about 15 miles to the east of Vancouver. He, along with his brother and sister, were raised by their parents on a big pig farm. In the 1970s, their parents passed away, and so the property was handed down to them. Robert and his brother took over the daily operations of the farm, and their sister decided to just move away. Over the next couple of decades, Robert and his brother attempted to run the pig farm, but pretty quickly they stopped taking care of it, and it fell into decline. Neighbors and visitors recalled seeing the pigs that were still there free roaming the property. And as for the brothers, it appeared they had just stopped bathing, and despite walking all day in mud and pig feces, it seemed like they never took off their boots when they went inside. One of the few farm workers that stayed with the Picktons through the farm's decline was a guy by the name of Bill Hiscox, and he said the farm was a really creepy place. And he also said Robert was a really creepy guy that was prone to just totally bizarre behavior, even though he didn't smoke or drink or use any substances. Eventually, the Pickton brothers realized they were not cut out to run the pig farm like their family had for generations before them, and they decided their best move was just to sell portions of their land. But neither of them could have guessed just how much their land was worth. From 1994 to 1995, they managed to sell off almost all of their property to an urban developer for over $5 million. And so suddenly, these filthy, failed pig farmers had become millionaires, and neither of them knew what to do with the money. After a year of just sitting on the money and not doing much with it, they decided they wanted to do some good with their money. And so they established an official charity in 1996 called the Piggy Palace Good Times Society. Their charity's purpose, at least on paper, was to help raise money for various organizations that they deemed worthy by running events like dances and shows. And while that might have been their original intention for this charity, what it ultimately became was a guise to host these wild drug and alcohol-fueled parties inside of their slaughterhouse, which, even though it wasn't being used anymore because they were no longer really doing any pig farming, it still conspicuously had big hooks coming down from the ceiling and bloodstains all over the ground underneath them. These Piggy Palace parties became infamous in Coquitlam, drawing crowds of up to 2,000 people, predominantly bikers, drug addicts, and prostitutes from the poverty-stricken downtown east side of Vancouver.
Bikers, drug addicts, and prostitutes in a Piggy Palace farm band. What could possibly go wrong? Isn't that just the best set of people that you would just love to go out and party with, bro? That just sounds like a great time, doesn't it? I hope you got your insurance ready, because that's not even a good mix, bro. Jesus Christ. What? Moses said, prepare myself. He said, sick dance moves. Appreciate you.
Robert had become familiar with that part of Vancouver because he used to go through there all the time to dispose of animal waste products at their rendering plant. Once the Piggy Palace charity was in full swing, Robert started going back into that neighborhood where he would cruise down the 10-block strip called the Load Track and would attempt to recruit people to come to his parties. Most of the people he recruited were down on their luck women who only agreed to go because he was offering them food and money and drugs and alcohol. At the same time Robert was running this recruiting campaign, women from the downtown east side began disappearing in droves. These disappearances were noticed by the men and women in the downtown east side, but they didn't report them because they had a general distrust of the police and of authority figures in general. But as more and more and more women disappeared from the downtown east side, rumors of a serial killer operating in that area started to circulate. Residents began only going outside if they could walk around in a big group of people, and everybody was just totally on edge, keeping careful lookout for anything odd about the neighborhood, people that shouldn't be there, cars that shouldn't be there. But despite this heightened security, women continued to go missing at a rapid rate, and nobody knew why. When the police were finally contacted about all these missing women, their response was lacking, to say the least. Since there were no bodies of these missing women, the police said it was reasonable to assume that the women were to blame, that their lifestyles must have caught up with them and they either ran off somewhere or perhaps they overdosed somewhere and their bodies just haven't been found yet. Despite residents of the downtown east side saying, no, this is different, there's something wrong here, the police basically said, we're not getting involved. When the newspapers found out about this totally apathetic response from the police, they criticized them for intentionally deprioritizing these missing women because the majority of them were drug addicts and prostitutes, and so therefore weren't worthy of a full investigation. The police rejected this claim. On the evening of March 22nd...
Are you guys starting to see the trend here? Like, are you guys starting to see the trend of each story? The police is either late, they don't take the investigation serious, they don't take the person serious, they don't try to look for people unless the people are important. Like, I know I'm not the only one that's starting to see that, like, it's just every story, back to back, that they don't do anything. 2K, let's go. What's up, Jordan? Yeah, 2K, we on the way.
1997, so 1 year after the Piggy Palace had been stood up and they started throwing all these parties, and 1 year after dozens of women have gone missing from the downtown east side, the Pictons' neighbor heard a frantic knock on their front door. They ran over, they opened it up, and what they saw was this woman who was hunched over with one hand on her bleeding stomach, and dangling from her wrist was a handcuff. The neighbor was obviously shocked at what they were seeing, but they quickly ushered the woman in and they called her an ambulance. The woman was rushed to the hospital where she immediately was put into emergency surgery. Afterwards, while she was in recovery, she told her nurses that her name was Wendy and she had been at one of those Piggy Palace parties, and one of the owners of the farm, Robert Picton, had tried to put a handcuff on her, and when he did, she fought back. He drew a knife, he stabbed her in the stomach, she was able to get the knife back, she stabbed him in the face before turning and running out the door and making it to the neighbor's house. Right after she told this story, Robert Picton actually showed up at the exact same hospital with a serious laceration on his face that was consistent with being stabbed. The medical staff had already called the police, who showed up minutes later, and when they went inside, they searched Robert and they found in one of his pockets a handcuff key. And that handcuff key opened the handcuff that was still on Wendy's wrist. And so when the police saw that, they arrested Robert on attempted murder. While Robert was in custody, he explained to officers that Wendy was lying. She was a drug addict, and she had come to one of their Piggy Palace parties, and he had caught her trying to rob them. He had confronted her, she drew a knife, and that's when a struggle ensued, and both of them got stabbed, and Robert said he was just lucky to be alive. The police believed him and dropped all of his charges and let him go. When Robert got back to the farm, Bill Hiscox, the one worker who still worked for the Pictons, he grew very suspicious of Robert. He had read all about the missing women from the downtown east side, and he knew Robert regularly went over there to pick up women and brought them back to his parties. And Bill just always had that gut feeling that something was off about Robert. And so he sat on this gut feeling for a couple of months until finally he decided he had to tell someone. And so he called the Crime Stoppers tip line, and he told them that he thought Robert had actually attacked Wendy, not the other way around, and that actually Robert was most likely behind some or all of these missing women from the downtown east side. Bill also said that a recent female party guest at the farm had seen a pile of women's clothing inside of Robert's trailer, along with at least 10 purses and women's ID cards. The police followed up with Lisa to confirm what she saw, but she was scared of Robert and said she wasn't going to cooperate. And so the police, without this testimony, were unable to secure a search warrant to investigate this further, and so they kind of just forgot about it and moved on to other cases. Over the next few years, the Pictons continued to throw these huge Piggy Palace parties until the city finally shut them down, and dozens more women disappeared from the downtown east side without a significant police investigation, despite the fact that Bill was calling them him all the time to say he believed Robert Pickton was behind all of these disappearances.
And not only that, you have the person there that got stabbed in the stomach telling you she was handcuffed and stabbed in the stomach and she got away. And then he's going to tell you, oh, I'm lucky to be alive. So what you're telling me is she stabbed you in the face, you took the knife back and stabbed her in the stomach. So how did she get handcuffed? That doesn't make any sense. You caught her robbing you, so you tried to arrest her, and then where did the police, bro, and they just believed them and they let them go. And not only that, you have one girl telling you that they seen clothes piled up, and ID cards, purses, and then you got another dude telling them that he may be responsible for all these girls that disappeared. Now, since the police believe this dude and decided to let him go, over the next couple of years, he went and killed more women, adding on to the numbers that he already had, bro. So you could have stopped all those murders if you would have just listened. All right, Zombies Plays, man. Man, have a good one. Thank you for stopping by. This is pissing me off.
But they weren't taking him seriously. Finally, in 2002, a former employee of the Pickton farm came forward to police and said that he personally had seen illegal weapons inside of Robert's trailer. And this was enough information for the police to get a search warrant and raid the pig farm. And in February of that year, they did just that. And they found inside of Robert's trailer the illegal guns, as well as several items directly connected to some of the missing women from the downtown east side. Robert was arrested but let out on bail. He was put under surveillance and told he could not go back to the farm until they were done conducting a more thorough search. And during that more thorough search, they found blood from one of the missing women inside of Robert's trailer. And so Robert was rearrested and charged with murder. While he was being held in jail, he shared his cell with another man who he believed was just another detainee. But he wasn't a detainee, he was actually an undercover police officer, and their entire interaction was being recorded. And on this recording, Robert makes a few shocking statements.
What do you got? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay, I know what's up. You got a missing person. We better fucking cut you in it. I thought the best way to dispose of something was to take it to the ocean. Any better than that. Yeah? No. That's got it. Pretty good. Okay? Mm-hmm. Can't much left.
I was only kind of sloppy at the end too. Getting too sloppy.
Yeah, sloppy. Too sloppy. I was going to do my work. Maybe even 50. That's what I was sloppy before. Feel the switch with the antifreeze, and you check yourself, and you're dead better than 10 minutes. That was just one more that we could even bigger than ladies, bigger than the ones in the States. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is already about 42.
As Robert admits in this video, he killed 49 people, who would turn out to be the majority of the missing women from the downtown east side. After a lengthy investigation, it was determined Robert's killing spree began in 1991, but it really kicked up a notch in 1996 when he and his brother started Piggy Palace, because he was able to use their huge parties to lure more victims to his farm faster. And once they were at his farm, he would lure them into his trailer, where he would handcuff them, tell them it's over now, and he would inject antifreeze into them, or he would strangle them to death. Afterwards, he would move the victim's body to the slaughterhouse, where he would butcher them like a pig. A large portion of his victim's remains would be fed to his pigs, and the parts he didn't feed to his pigs, he would bring to the rendering plant in the downtown east side, which is not far from where the victim was most likely picked up. A rendering plant takes animal waste products, crushes them up, and turns them into a gelatin. This gelatin is used in many everyday products, from candy to cosmetics, which means Robert's victims wound up in things like lipstick and gummy bears. Also, sometimes while Robert was going through this horrific disposal process, he would set aside some of the best cuts of meat and grind them up with pork and turn them into sausage. This sausage was served at Piggy Palace parties. It was also given to neighbors shelters and food banks and orphanages. After sifting through 300,000 cubic meters of soil and pig feces underneath the Picton farm, investigators were only ever able to find little bits of remains of 26 women. Robert was charged with all 26 murders, but only 6 turned into convictions due to a lack of evidence. He was sentenced to life in prison and is still alive today. His brother and sister were never charged in connection with the crimes. So that's going to do it, guys. If you found the secret in today's episode, let us know in the comments what it is and where you found it, so give us the timestamp, and if you're the first to do that, we'll pin you at the top of the comments section. If you enjoyed today's video and you haven't done this already, please set the like button up for a practice sales call with William M. Buttlicker. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly 3 or 4 video uploads. If you want to get in touch with me, you can direct message me on Instagram or on Twitter. My username for both platforms is the same. It's JohnBallin416. I also have a ton of content over on TikTok where my username is Mr. Ballin. I also have a second YouTube channel called Mr. Ballin Shorts where I post random short videos and lost episodes. If you have a story suggestion, please submit it to our subreddit just called Mr. Ballin. It's linked in the description below. So whether I see you on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, YouTube, or some combination, just know that I really appreciate your support, and until next time, that's gonna do it. See ya.
Bruh. The police should have been investigating, taken to court. What's up, Zach? Disgusting. Damn, some people ain't human. What the fuck? Regular people are human. Arresting crazy. Bruh, this whole case, man, just pissed me. This dude was killing since 1991, bruh. So which means they said that stuff is turned into gelatin, which is used for candy, lipstick, and other things. Which means people was putting dead people on their lips, bruh. Oh my goodness. And them gummy worms you probably was eating or something. I just got done eating some candy too, bruh. I think my stomach hurt now. Oh man, and the fact that they arrested him after this woman just told him she escaped and went to the neighbor's house. You know what I'm saying? He tried to kill her, got away. He came to the same hospital saying that, oh, they got into a fight. He had a key in his pocket, bro. Like, he was trying to kill her. Arrested him. Let him go again. He went back, killed some more people. Arrested him. He got out on bail. Arrested him again. I'm just like, damn, bro. How many people have to tell you that he's the killer, bro, for you to be like, you know what? Maybe he's the killer. Why are these girls that are attending this Piggy Palace party are disappearing? Like, oh my goodness, bruh. And the fact that they only could find 26 remains out of the 49, which means he was disposing them in that rendering plant and eating the rest of them, bruh, and making them into sausage and giving it to kids, bro. It was kids in the orphanage eating human meat, bruh. Oh my goodness. I can't even imagine, man. Those poor kids, bruh. Eating human freaking meat. Oh my God. I don't even want to think about it. I'm 100% sure that we've probably ate some kind of human meat at least once. If you Google or something, bruh. Because you know, sometimes people, even now, people like in those meat pack factory implants or factories, whatever, or they sometimes get limbs and stuff chopped off and they go inside the processor. You think they about to stop the whole processing machine to try to get us? No. It happens, but oh my goodness, bro. That's some, man, that story pissed me off. Like, did they have a movie about that? If they do, I need to see it, because that's crazy, man. Damn, I played The Walking Dead. Damn, I played The Walking Dead from Telltale Games. Yeah. Thanks, Zach. Congratulations on 2K. Appreciate it. This case reminds me of an episode of Criminal Minds. Criminal Minds is a really good show. Oh, I played the Walking Dead Telltale Games. I love it, man. I love that game. I wish I could play that game all over again. I probably will on my Twitch sometime. I'll probably feel like playing that over again. But man, that's crazy, bro. Like, some people probably still have those products that have human meat and flesh and that's turned into gelatin. That's, oh man. Alright, this next video is called, This Man is the Nazi's Worst Nightmare. So this dude's a beast, probably just like the other guy. I can't remember his name. It was a master sergeant or whoever his name was. He was a beast, bruh. He died 37 times or 32 times. And straight monster. But this is a different dude. So let's see
If you Google the most incredible story of all time, this story that I'm going to tell you today pops up all over the internet. And after reading through it, I can totally understand why. But before we get into today's story, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you come to the right channel because that's all we do. We upload 3, 4, even 5 times every week. So if that's of interest to you, please offer the like button a bag of Rebels, but only leave them the coffee-flavored kind. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly uploads. All right, let's get into today's story.
Let's go! Real life superhero.
The United States formally entered World War II on December 8th, 1941, after the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor in Hawaii. At the time, Joseph Byerly was a senior at his high school in Muskegon, Michigan, and he had a scholarship to attend Notre Dame University the next year. But after his graduation in 1942, he decided he didn't want to go to college so long as other kids his age were going off to fight the war. And so he enlisted in the Army, and he immediately volunteered for one of the most dangerous units, the Parachute Infantry. Joseph completed a brutal, accelerated training regimen that included exhausting PT in blistering heat, extended forced marches, grueling full kit runs up mountains, as well as both American and British jump schools. By 1943, Joseph was fully trained and stationed in England and was eager to put his training to the test. But the Allied invasion of Nazi-occupied France, also known as D-Day, was still a few months away. But Joseph didn't want to wait that long, so he volunteered for an incredibly dangerous mission that the OSS was recruiting paratroopers for. The OSS was the predecessor to the CIA. Basically, volunteers would parachute in the middle of the night into Nazi-occupied France with a backpack full of gold. Once they hit the ground, they'd meet up with the French resistance and give the gold to them, and then the resistance would do their best to protect these volunteer paratroopers and hopefully give them a ride back out to England. But by no means was it a guarantee, because many of these volunteers were killed in the process. This was some hardcore, deep cover spy work that the OSS would tell their volunteers, if you get caught on this mission, you're gonna get tortured and you're gonna get executed. Joseph would successfully complete this insane mission, and then he liked it so much, he did it again. Shortly after his second successful OSS mission, word came down that D-Day was set to take place on June 6th. Joseph's unit was told they were going to be parachuted into France the night before in order to destroy bridges, cut power supply lines, and generally soften up defenses before the main invasion happened just a couple of hours later at Utah Beach. So in the dead of night on June 5th, Joseph and his unit were flying over France when they were struck by enemy fire. And so as their plane is literally falling to the ground, Joseph leaps out the door when he's only 400 feet off the ground, and he manages to survive the jump, his parachute inflated just in time, but he landed on top of a church where a Nazi sniper was up in the steeple taking shots at all of the other paratroopers. And when the sniper saw Joseph on the roof, he began taking shots at him, and Joseph managed to dodge the rounds before slipping off the roof and running out of sight. Jesus. Once on the ground, he slammed a mag into his M1 carbine and then began a one-man mission so incredible that there is a plaque inside of the church he landed on that looks like this. Completely alone, with no idea where the rest of his unit was, Joseph took off running from the church and once again had to dodge more sniper fire, and he eventually made it to the town's power substation, which he blew up with thermite. So he cut the power to the town, and from there he went building to building to building, killing every Nazi he came across, including an entire squad of Nazi infantry that he ambushed with grenades. At some point, Joseph made his way over to one of the bridges leading into this town that if he blew up, it would prevent Nazis from sending reinforcements to Utah Beach. But as he crawled through one of the hedgerows, he fell headfirst into a Nazi machine gun nest, and when he turned around, there were a bunch of machine guns pointed at his face, and so he surrendered. Joseph was marched deeper into France to a POW holding area, and as soon as he got there, explosions ripped out all around him. It wasn't clear if it was German artillery or American aircraft, but whatever it was killing both Germans and American POWs. Joseph took shrapnel to the leg and was blown into a ditch, and despite being in excruciating pain, he took this as an opportunity to escape. And so he got up and ran away as best as he could with his injury, and for 12 hours he remained uncaught behind enemy lines before he was ultimately caught again. This time they put Joseph in the back of a covered locked truck to keep him from escaping, and they decided they would send him to St. Lo and decide what to do with him there. But on their transit to St. Lo, an Allied aircraft strafed the vehicle that Joseph was in, and Joseph survived the attack and was able to leap out of one of the holes in the side of the truck from this attack, and he attempted to escape. But once again, he was caught. The Nazis finally got Joseph to St. Lo, and as soon as they got there, the Americans launched an all-night bombing campaign on the city. But once again, Joseph narrowly survives. A recurring theme of Joseph's story is that he is repeatedly almost killed by his own teammates. For the next few days, Joseph was interrogated 20 to 24 hours a day, but he didn't give them any information, and he repeatedly called them sons of bitches until they got so fed up with him, they just beat him to a pulp, and he was knocked unconscious and kept in the hospital for several days. For the next 3 months, Joseph was starved, beaten, interrogated some more, and moved to multiple POW camps.
This dude is a monster. Oh my God, who hurt you? This man fell on the roof, rolled off, ran through the field. The Dodge sniper fire went building to building, bruh, clearing out rooms of Nazis and their infantry squads. Damn. And then he got blown up, took shrapnel, got away, was gone for 12 hours, captured again, got away a second time. Like, he's getting lucky because, bruh, them Germans back then was ruthless, bruh. You watch these documentaries and stuff, bruh, they shoot you for asking questions, let alone keep running like that. Man, he... different kind of breed right here.
He forced to do back-breaking labor all day. At night, he would survive Allied bombing runs, and he would constantly weather hunger, disease, and exhaustion. At one point, he was locked inside of this boxcar with 50 other guys. He could barely move inside of it, and once again, it was strafed by Allied planes, and he was one of the very few people to survive that. In September of 1944, Joseph was moved to a Russian POW camp in Poland that held about 12,000 Russian men and women POWs. And as soon as he got there, he immediately began planning his escape. 2 months later, on a freezing night in November, Joseph, along with 3 other American POWs, managed to cut the barbed wire and snuck out of the camp and began making their escape south. They snuck into a railway station and hopped on a train car they believed was headed for Poland. Their plan was to meet up with the Soviet Red Army as it pushed through the region. But unfortunately, they got on the wrong train and they wound up in Berlin, the capital of Nazi Germany. One thing you don't hear much about when it comes to World War II is there was actually a large number of Germans that hated Hitler and totally disagreed with the Nazis. And so they organized a German underground resistance that was designed to help the Allies during the war. And so when Joseph and the other 3 American POWs arrived in Berlin, still wearing their POW uniforms, a member of the German resistance saw them and immediately grabbed them and brought them into hiding. But after only a week, the infamous Nazi secret police, aka the Gestapo, discovered them and arrested them. Over the next 10 days, Joseph and the other American POWs got to see firsthand just how awful the Gestapo really were. They were constantly interrogated while they were beaten, kicked, walked on, strung up by their arms backwards. They were hit with whips, clubs, and rifle butts until they drifted into unconsciousness. And then as soon as they started to come to, it would start all over again. After those 10 days, the Gestapo turned Joseph and the other 3 American POWs over to the German army, who put them in the brutal prison camp called the Stalag Luft III. Upon arrival, Joseph was immediately sentenced to 30 days inside of a 4 by 5 foot pine box that was too small to stand up or lay down in. Fortunately for him, he only had to endure 7 days because a Red Cross operative from Geneva intervened on his behalf. It would take months for Joseph to get his strength back after being inside of this box, but as soon as he did, he began plotting his next escape. One night, Joseph, along with his 3 American POW buddies, managed to break through a prison wall and made a mad dash for freedom, but the Nazi prison guards saw it and opened fire on them. All 3 of Joseph's friends were killed as they ran, but Joseph got away, only to hear the faint barking of the German shepherds the Nazis had sent to hunt him down.
Bruh, this dude and that other dude need to link up, bruh, and do like some Army of Two type stuff, bruh, because they not like it's a bad thing, but they not dying, bruh. Like, stuff that should kill you, they're immune to it, like, they're immortal or something. Like, you just keep getting beat up and hit with butt stocks. Like, how are you not broken yet? Like, the first couple of slaps, I think it would have took most people, like, you know what, I'm tired of getting beat up and stuff like that. But dang, man, that's insane. I sent it on Twitter, but it's basically a horror game about paranormal activity. that only works from 10 p.m. until like 5 or 6 a.m. in your current location. It's kind of cool, actually. It's cool, but I like to play during the daytime because I'm scared when it comes to that kind of stuff. But I mean, I'll check it out, see if what I can find. They are nothing. They are built different, bro. They're a different breed because he's lucky, bro. Somebody stepped in, took his 30 to 70. And I don't know about you guys. I don't know if you've ever been in a spot where it's kind of like hard to stand up at the same time. You can't sit down, so it's kind of like, oh man, 7 days of that, bro. They probably didn't feed him or nothing either. I don't know. Who knows, bro? Jesus.
So, in the freezing cold of Poland in January, Joseph leapt headfirst into a partially frozen river and swam over 2 miles down it before getting out and running blindly into the woods. Somehow, miraculously, he managed to reach Soviet lines before he froze to death. And there, he spoke with battalion commander Alexandra Samosenko, a woman who holds the distinction of being the only female tank commander in all of World War II. Even though Joseph spoke very little Russian, he convinced her to let him join her unit. And so she gave him a gun and some ammunition, and she told him what their next objective was. They were going to liberate the same POW camp he had just escaped from. Nice. And so Joseph, alongside the Soviet Red Army that he now fought for, turn around and go smash this POW camp. And after the dust had settled, Joseph raided the main camp office and stole his defiant official POW photo that the Germans had taken of him on the first day he got captured. Joseph continued to fight alongside the Soviets across the Eastern Front for a couple of months, but when a German dive bomber blew up the tank that Joseph was riding on, he was evacuated to a Russian field hospital. There, he received a visit from Georgy Zhukov, the most important Soviet military commander in World War II, who was intrigued by the only non-Soviet in the hospital. He sat with Joseph and learned his story through an interpreter, and then afterwards he provided Joseph with official paperwork that would allow him to rejoin American forces. And so in February of 1945, Joseph was sent to the U.S. Embassy in Moscow, but unfortunately, when he finally met a friendly American face, after nearly a year of fighting behind enemy lines, they didn't believe his story. They told him that Joseph R. Byerly had been killed in action on June 10th, 1944, and that they had already had a funeral mass in his honor in Muskegon, and that his obituary had already been printed in the paper. But despite Joseph painstakingly going through his story over and over again, the ambassador just could not believe what he was hearing. And so, worried Joseph might actually be a well-trained German spy, the ambassador sent him to Odessa to have his credentials verified. But Odessa had the same problem and couldn't verify him, so they sent him to Egypt. Egypt had the same problem, and they too could not verify his credentials. And so they sent him to Italy, where they finally used fingerprints, and they confirmed that yes, this is in fact Joseph R. Byerly. And so on April 11th, 1945, Joseph returned home, and needless to say, his parents were very surprised to see him because they were convinced he died 10 months earlier. 1 year later, Joseph would actually get married in the same church that held his funeral mass when everybody believed he was dead. Joseph was given the Purple Heart, and then in the 1990s was given additional presidential awards from US President Bill Clinton, as well as the Russian President Boris Yeltsin. Joseph was also given a custom-made AK-47 from the guy who invented the AK-47. Joseph died in 2004 at the age of 81, and his son would go on to become the US ambassador to Russia under George W. Bush and Barack Obama. So that's going to do it, guys. If you found the secret in today's episode, let us know in the comments what it is and where you found it, so give us the timestamp. And if you're the first to do that, we'll pin you at the top of the comments section. If you enjoyed today's video and you haven't done this already, please offer the like button a bag of Revels, but only leave the coffee-flavored kind. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly 3, 4, even 5 video uploads. If you want to get in touch with me, you can direct message me on Instagram or on Twitter. My username
this is the last video, unfortunately.
Same. It's John Ballin 416. I also have a ton of content over on TikTok where my username is Mr. Ballin.
He has best.
I also have a second YouTube channel just called Mr. Ballin Shorts. It's where I post short videos. If you have a story suggestion, please submit it to our subreddit just called Mr. Ballin. It's linked in the description below. So whether I see you on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, YouTube, or some combination, just know that I really appreciate your support, and until next time, that's going to do it. See ya.
Bruh, this dude, bruh, they had a whole funeral for him and everything. They sent him from Moscow to Berlin, was it Egypt, to Italy, I think, or I might have missed one. They sent him to like 4 or 5 different places, man. They finally decided to use fingerprints. Like, yep, that's him. Imagine they didn't believe him and then shot him. Dang, that would have been crazy. And like that it was a German spy and they killed him right there. That would have been garbage, bruh. It's got to have been like really bad, like some American Sniper type stuff. You go through all that stuff and then just get killed by one of your own. Sheesh, that been tough. But I just seen a movie not too long ago called The Pianist or something like that. So yeah, that movie was horrible, man. That was a bad movie. It was a good movie, but it was just like sad and bad at the same time. But yeah, man, let me know if you guys want to see more of these in the future. But that's going to do it for today's live stream. We've been streaming for, I think, like what, 3 hours, almost 3 hours, close to 4 hours, man. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, if you guys want to go watch these videos without me talking through it, pausing it, and pretty much being a nuisance, then you guys can always go down to the description box, hit those links, and go watch it in its entirety. And yeah, show some support to these content creators, Mr. Ballin, Scary Mysteries, and Mr. Nightmare, because they really got some good content. So yeah, man, I hope you guys enjoyed the live stream. I'm just going to stick around for a little bit, and if you guys have any questions or anything like that, then I'll answer them. But other than that, yeah, that's going to do it. Is your Twitter DMs open? Yeah, they're open. This is my my Twitter right here. It's the same as my YouTube name. Have you reacted to T-Rag's Red Shirt compilation? No, I be seeing them on I be seeing them on TikTok. But yeah, he's funny as heck. He said, why your hand move? What you trying to get into? Yeah, I'll be watching those. What you doing? What you trying to get into? Yeah, so yeah, buddy. Dang, that was these were some good stories, man. I think the one that made me mad the most was the Piggy Palace. I have to do some more research on that and see if they have any movies or anything like that. Because they have movies like with Ed Gein and John Wayne Gacy and what's that other dude name? Ted Bundy and all these other ones. But most of these serial killers, they need movies because I want to know the full story behind this, because that was just bad police work, like all around. It was just horrible, man. How do you keep capturing and releasing the same dude when you have 2 or 3 people telling you that he's doing it? Like, how? I've seen people get convicted without any evidence. Like damn, son. And he had 49. He said I needed 1 more to make 50. Have you ever heard of Lazy Masquerade? He's got great content. No, I'll probably check him out too. I'll probably write that down right now and then look it up after. Lazy Masquerade. Alright, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. Imagine the guy who died 49 times with this guy. Yeah, I told you. Imagine if they teamed up. Sheesh. But he's gone now. But if they would have teamed up back then, bro, you talking about, man, war probably would have been over, bro. The war would have been over in like a couple of months with them two on the same team. I don't know if I want to make some cinnamon rolls right now or if I should just lay down and finish watching the first 48. I'm kind of debating. I've been watching for over 1.5 years. Oh, really? Dang, you've been watching for 1.5 years. There's got to be some good stuff. Zams, I got some good news. What you got, Ubi? You got your acting job or what you got? You got PS5 or something? What you got for me? I said I'm gonna start uploading gaming videos, but I haven't even did that yet. I need to though. I just don't know what game to play. I really don't know. When will your next stream be? I don't know. If you guys really like the live streams, I'll probably just start putting them on probably on Saturdays like I did now. Saturdays around 10 my time. I forgot, what time is it here? Is it general? I think it's general time or something like general something. I don't know. I'm in Japan, so just look up Japan time zone, and it's our standard. I don't know. I forgot. Yeah, probably do that. Something. I don't know. Who knows? Start playing some and upload some pre-recorded like horror games and stuff like that. So yeah, Warzone, Dead by Daylight. Yo, Dead by Daylight, funny. Oh, that new Resident Evil did come out, huh? Yep, the new Resident Evil did come out. I gotta look that up. I have to look that up. But yeah, man. Alright, well, if you guys don't have anything, I'll leave you guys to it. Again, thank you guys so much for the 2K subscribers, man. I really appreciate it. If you guys want me to play certain games and stuff, you already know where to find me. Twitter, in the YouTube comments, bro. Whatever it is, I'll answer. Resident Evil Village. Yeah, I mean, I'll probably check it out. If anything, I'll probably buy it and then pre-record it and play one. And if you guys want to see more of it, and you'd be like, oh yeah, I'd rather you see you play it live or not play it live. If not, you just want to stick to pre-recordings, do that too. Cause I think pre-recording is kind of like having like a Netflix series. It's kind of like a, dang, I can't wait for the next episode type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Because if you live stream, you're kind of going to complete more because you're not going back and editing as much. You're just playing through it, and whatever you get to is like whatever you get to. But yeah. But again, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. If you guys are new to the channel, my name is Reprisal Zims, and welcome to the Crow's Nest. Peace out. Have a good night. Don't eat too much candy. And don't forget, somewhere out there, it was human flesh inside of lipstick and candy and all the other stuff. And pork is very similar to human flesh. And some orphanage kids ate it. And some people are superhuman. So, yeah. Just take those, run with them. Make sure you guys write down all the red flags I was giving you guys today. And utilize them, because the red flag system that I made for you guys, it actually works. And it will keep you alive and keep those around you alive.